I'm Jon Schwartz, an investor, house hacker, and realtor in Los Angeles, California. You're watching Investment Property Nerd, and this is my weekly Los Angeles real estate market update for January 25th, 2021. And guys, I think we've seen it. I think we've seen the peak of single-family pricing. Each Sunday, I review the week's MLS activity for Los Angeles County to bring you the latest in what's happening in our market. These numbers come straight from the MLS, and you won't find these graphs anywhere else because I make them. If this is your first time watching the weekly update, here's the quick explainer. Each graph covers the previous 12 weeks. The bars represent actual weekly numbers, and the line represents a 4-week trailing average. This smooths out the noise and helps us identify trends. If you'd like to talk further about your buying, selling, or house hacking plans in Los Angeles, shoot me an email at john@investmentpropertynerd.com. All right, let's get into the data. Looking at single-family listing activity, inventory continues its upward trajectory. We had 980 new listings, 181 sales, and 171 expired, withdrawn, or canceled listings this past week. Now, even though the number of new listings dropped from 1031 to 980, listings leaving the market also dropped from 529 to 352. So the net change in listings actually increased from 502 to 628. And the 4-week trailing average climbed to 376 net new listings. That's a lot of numbers I just threw at you. Point is, single-family inventory continues to open up in Los Angeles. Good news for buyers. In sales activity, we get to the real good news for buyers. Average price per square foot has declined to $666, pulling the 4-week trailing average down ever so slightly to $671. Is it possible that last week's high of $690 was peak pricing for single-family homes in LA? We can certainly hope so. For the overall health of the market, I've been praying for the single-family mania to subside, and with more inventory coming to market as we head into spring, I'm really hopeful that it is, that we just hit the peak and are now in a gentle softening in single-family pricing. Median days on market is flat, and list price to sales price ratio, though it saw an increase this week, is still trending downward. So obviously, the single-family market isn't collapsing, but hopefully it's cooling. In condo listing activity, we're seeing another rise in inventory. Overall, numbers contracted a hair, but the 4-week trailing average is still pushing upward to 144 net new listings. And as you'll recall from our 2020 recap, which I'm linking to above right now, condo inventory is already much healthier than single family. In sales activity, we see that average price per square foot is holding firm despite an uptick in median days on market and a downtick in list price to sales price ratio. Again, the big story with condos is that the inventory is there. I'm curious to see as the year proceeds and we get the pandemic under control, how quickly will buyers come back to condos in the denser urban centers of LA? We shall see. In residential multifamily listing activity, and remember we're talking about 2 to 4 unit buildings here, inventory is also on the rise. 2 more listings than the previous week, 3 fewer listings leaving the market than the previous week, so the 4-week trailing average continues upward to a net 34 new listings. Looking at sales activity, the metrics are again holding steady within the wider bands we expect in a more volatile market segment. Average price per unit at $411,000 is right where it's been for most of the last 3 months. Median days on market has pulled back from its high of a couple weeks ago, but as you can see, that metric jumps around wildly, from 20 and below to 50 and above. And list price to sales price ratio is about where it was 12 weeks ago. As more multifamily inventory comes to market, we should see that reflected in these metrics, but the trend lines will be bumpy. Thanks so much for watching this Los Angeles market update. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss next week's. Get in touch with me with your questions about the LA market, and I'll see you next time on Investment Property Nerd.